Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of Think Africa. This is a quick live I wanted to make just to bring this surprising news from the Central Africa where Gabon is trying to outstage Niger. Gabon is trying to take Niger's shine. So basically what's happening is the long-time leader, Ali Bongo, who was the son of Omar Bongo in Gabon, wanted to try and force the election yesterday and declared himself the winner of the election this morning, and all of a sudden the military was in again, and here we go with a new coup d'etat in Africa. Now the thing is, in this case, you know, Africans, we've been badly traumatized by France, you know. We've been so traumatized by France that when there is a coup d'etat, we don't know which way to align. So when there's a coup d'etat, we don't know if it's a French-sponsored one or if it's a revolutionary one, especially these last few months. So because in the past 6-7 decades, France has sponsored so much coup d'etat, so many coup d'etats in Africa, so many military coups in Africa. When there is a military coup, now we don't know if it's a French-sponsored one or if it's, the people of the colonies trying to get back their independence. So with this one in Gabon just freshly happening, we have to wait to see which way it goes. If we see the French digging their heels and their military is being asked to leave Gabon, then we know it's a real coup d'etat. If we see France fighting to stay and promising to maintain democracy and to do everything to protect the Gabonese people, then we know it's a real coup d'etat. If we see France congratulating the military there and coming in to install the military coup leader as they did in Chad, then we know we're in trouble again. But at least there's a change. At least there's, at least there's something different. You know, at least there is a new man in town in Gabon, so to speak. Now, this video was not about Gabon. As I said, Gabon is just trying to outshine Niger. This video is about Niger and what is going on there. Yesterday, the French still reiterated through a speech from Mr. Emmanuel Macron that the French ambassador, who has been asked to leave in the next 48 hours, to leave Niger, Emmanuel Macron made a speech in front of foreign ambassadors that the French ambassador is not leaving. He's not going nowhere. France is there to stay. Now, I've always warned my fellow Africans and the youths of this generation. I made a video last month where I tried to explain to people that France is a country that has in its DNA the nature to invade and conquer and loot. And that is something that you're not going to get them out of Africa in peace. It's not going to happen. None of these seminars, none of these talking the truth to power, as I see young people having sessions with Emmanuel Macron and he sits there and take notes and all that stuff. It's not going to happen. They are a conquering nation. That's how they live. They don't win any wars, but they have a way to get into weak countries or into countries that are not as vicious and barbaric as they are, provided they can overpower you with what they have. They will overpower you, they will take, and they will loot. So that's France for you. So what is happening in Niger now is exactly France showing its true colors. you can see even from the French media, you see young French people, they're actually supporting Macron. They're actually asking, I've seen a few people in the French media, a few people talking about how they support Macron, that France has to be there because France needs sub-Saharan mineral resources and raw material to stay as a superpower. So in their mind, they have to take to stay as a superpower. So that's the problem Africa has to deal with. So these are countries that they spend all days. France is a country, and the problem is France is hiddenly backed by the EU. Well, not hiddenly, it's almost openly now, because I'll explain down the line while I'm making this video. I mean, the main reason for this video is about the real gain from the uranium in Niger. The real gain from that uranium, because the whole of Europe benefits from that uranium. So this video is, I want to talk about that, and I will show you. That's why I always feel that the whole of Europe is behind the idea that France should stay and cause chaos in the Sahel. So long as they can create chaos like what they did in Libya, they can get out what they want, and they can continue to get it for cheap. Now, you see, we all talk about the 15% French uranium that is gotten from Niger. But it's not only that. So, in fact, I've been following this writer. There's this author in Nigeria, this an economic analyst in Nigeria. What's his name? Kelvin Ayebefi Emmanuel. So he wrote this article in TRT Africa where he mentioned that France aggregates 15% of uranium produced in Niger for enrichment of its isotope through a process called fission, generates 68% of the total output of 3.6 gigawatt. And this 68% is sold to the rest of the EU and Britain to the cost of 3 billion euros. So France exports electricity to so the uranium that France gets from Niger, it uses this fission process that generates 68% of the energy that France exports to the EU for 3 billion euros. Now you understand why France can send militaries to the Sahel and complain that they're spending 800 million or 80 million euros per day to pay for their military in the Sahel region. Well, if you're earning 3 billion euros for uranium that is coming out of the mines of Niger, why wouldn't you spend why wouldn't you spend the minute 800 or what is it, 700 euros to protect what you're getting out of that country? So that's exactly what it is. France is not there to protect Niger and to protect the ambassador of France, as Emmanuel Macron claims, and that the military hasn't got the right to tell the ambassador to leave. No, they're not there for that. France is there to protect the 15% uranium they get from Niger, which benefits them, which gives them 3 billion euros per year. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 billion euros per year that France gets from exporting energy to the rest of Europe and the UK. Now, to confirm that, I went and checked the EU. I went and checked in the UK here. UK imported 52% of its energy last year from France. So the UK pays France to get 50, the UK paid France last year to get 52% of its energy. So we are all paying. We're paying very high price. As you guys can see, you know the cost of energy here. So we are paying quite high price. But it's France that is not paying that money back to Africa. It's not paying that money back to the various countries where it's looting these resources. So that's where this problem comes from. And that's why you see the Italian Prime Minister and most other people, all this anti-French sentiment that is boiling everywhere around the world, not only in Africa now, is because of the looting nature of this barbaric country. Believe you me, they can go around and talk about how Russia is sponsoring, Russia is carrying out media campaign against France. No, it's what they are doing. They are thieving, conniving, gangster people. That's what they are doing in Africa. Why they think that people are going to continue to stay blind and why they think that they can fool everybody all the time is beyond me. Because these are things that they are doing. These are statistics that are out there. Now, maybe it's important to, touch a little bit about the history of Europe in general, because I see that's where this is coming from. So Europe, Europe back in before the 15th century was always a conglomeration of little countries built around kings and a few rich people with peasants working in farms and the rest of the rich people and the king enjoying the wealth. So, and then the fighting in between each of them for imperial, conquering territories, fighting savage wars, very, very barbaric continent it was, because they used to fight against each other for territory, for wealth, to colonize each other. France, invading England, England invading France to and fro. So they've always been at each other's neck for centuries and centuries. So what happened is, once they discovered an alternative to all this barbarism, which was slavery, they thought, oh, instead of killing ourselves, we could go and kill these other people. Anyway, they are not like us. They are not humans. Maybe we can go and get them, and then we can bring them here to work free for us so we can make money out on their back and we can stop this killing of each other and we can build our countries. And so slavery was always, an outway. Slavery served as a way to export this barbarism to Africa. The savagery that was here in Europe was exported there, but this time around it was exported with a benefit, The looting and savagery and barbarism had a positive consequence for once for the Europeans. They got something out of it which they brought back here and built their countries with. Fast forward to colonialism, it was the same thing. Here was, free land that they could come in and practice their savagery that they had already been used to during wars, because they were used to fighting each other, they were used to killing each other. So that barbarism was exported to the colonies. They used it to capture swathes of lands, loot raw material, historic artifacts, whatever they could take, and bring it back to their empires and their republics and build. So all of a sudden, this savagery that was destroying Europe over a century and causing them not to progress, all of a sudden, that savagery and barbarism was paying off. So they were like, wow. So they exported it to Africa. So fast forward 21st century, this is what we're still suffering with them. They have sugar-coated it, they've painted it, they've made it look a little bit more civilized. They've given it a reason now. We are coming to Africa to introduce democracy. We want to teach Africa democracy. Every country in Africa must democracy must progress, blah, blah, blah. But no, it's not about democracy, ladies and gentlemen. It's always about invading, conquering, imposing on their power. Because that's what Europeans, Their mindset is like that. Thus, their power has to be used to oppress, conquer, imperialize, and loot. That is in their DNA. So even the rest of Europe are trying to be more civilized about it, The English are trying to be more civilized about it, but the French, they can't even hide it. It's right there. They've got the 15 colonies. They have to oppress, they have to take. And I used to use a word, I used to say, white supremacists. I used to call French the white supremacists, and I had a few people arguing, say it can't be all the country. No, it is. It is what it is. The reason I say that is, guys, Africans, young Africans, you have to understand, African people, you have to understand, we have to support Russia. Even if we think that Russia is, wrong in whatever they're doing, they are the only countries. Russia is the only country that actually defeated Nazism and white supremacy. The rest of Europe and America benefited from Nazism and white supremacy. They took the invention from Nazism. They took ideas from Nazism and actually either used them in other parts of the world to continue the white supremacist ideology. If you look at what is happening with the CFA, the French franc in the 15 colonies of Africa today, is what Germany used to use in its colonies, including France. So the Nazi, when they captured a territory, when they captured a community or a people or a country, they imposed a way of financial transaction. So they imposed a currency on these people, and that's how the rest of their captured territories paid back taxes to the German government. So when the Second World War ended, to show that France had very deep relationship with Nazism, even though they were, some of them were fighting, to show that France had a close relationship with Nazism, de Gaulle himself took the genius idea of exploitation, which was the currency idea, and spread it across the colonies, the French colonies in Africa. So till today, we haven't had a way to shake that off. The reason Africa can't shake it off is because we don't have the weapons that Europe had to fight Nazism. We don't have the weapons that Russia had to fight Nazism. So the reason I say we should support Russia and China all day long is because they are the ones who are going to help us stop this white supremacist money in Africa. France is not going to go away in peace. Don't fool yourself. Like I said, all these seminars and all this talking truth to power and all that, I see young people making seminars and talking with Emmanuel Macron. He comes there just to show the rest of the world that he's, there. But the crux is, the fact of the matter is, France is not going to leave Africa in peace. We will have to fight to get France out of Africa, just like Russia fought to defeat Nazism. When white supremacists come somewhere, they don't get out in peace. If you see the French behavior in Africa, if you see when a French ambassador is going to meet an authority in Africa, in countries like Niger or Burkina Faso, they go in short-sleeved T-shirts to go and meet the ambassadors. If you hear the French, to go and meet the residential authority, when they have a meeting with a high-ranking official in your country, they come there in T-shirts and shorts. They have that supremacist aura about them. They belittle you visually and physically, and even their language. You look, even the Francophones who have inherited, the French-speaking Africans who have inherited this language from the French, they've inherited it with that supremacist view of their own counterparts in the country. I come from a country that speaks English and French, and I can tell you that when you deal with a French person who is an African, they still have that view of French, of white supremacists, even though they are black. They don't realize it's in the language, it's in the mannerism, it's in the DNA. So this is something we have to fight to get France out of Africa. It is not going to be some kind of peaceful, story and this and that. It's not going to be like that. We have to have on our side countries like China and Russia. We have to acquire nuclear weapons to be able to set ourselves up to be able to fight against France. So my reason for making this video today is I want to bring this awareness that the issue, that what is happening in Niger is not just about the 15% of uranium that everyone is talking about. It's more than that. France is looting those countries to the bone, and we need to fight to get France out. Thanks for watching. I made a video last week about football and how we have to support our local teams. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. It's more about us thinking about Africa in a deeper way, further than just thinking that we can be friends with everyone and forget about ourselves. So go and watch the football video, the video about African football, and leave any comments below and subscribe if it's the kind of content you like. And I will be coming again in a few days or in a few hours to give you another information if I discover out there that is information that we need to share. So have a good one and talk to you next time. Thanks everyone. Bye.